Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. I am finally done with daily colors for this week. I am on the weekly color episode 102. We're going to walk through 3 pages that I completed this week. I definitely challenged myself and I had some successes and some fails. So the first image that you see here, I used the Polychromos. I arbitrarily picked it. And I am so glad I did because there was a lot to coloring this, as I call it, the Kelp page. I colored the bottom half of it with you, minus the fish and minus the trim. So the fish, I would call a fail. I used the Artistro. Actually, I used 2 things. I used Artistro white and Museum Aquarelle white, wet, using the technique that I demoed on the page on the right. And I could not get even coverage on the fish. I wanted the fish to not be so bright. And when I mean bright, I mean the thick lines, and they had patterns in them. To me, everything on this page is fairly realistic, except the fish. So what I did is I whited out the fish completely and colored them in very softly. And it perhaps on video, they aren't as bad as they look in real life, and they only look bad if you pay close attention to them. The 4 fish in the middle, the little guys, actually came out perfect. I have no problem with those fish. I am actually okay with the sailfish looking on the top and bottom. Those guys are okay. I'm even okay with these little fish. The ones that I don't like were the triangular shaped fish because they were very difficult to even attempt some sort of a realistic looking fish. So that's these 4 I would call not a huge success. So I am going to stand up now. I want you to see what I did for bling on this one. And I might even rotate my light. Get some light on here, and the bling is, I'm trying to figure out the color, glisten. So I had a choice of all of these different stickles, and I went with glisten to go with, the Glitter Lotus Root Color G62 Tanmit Glitter, which is how I did the scrolling filigree edge. And I mimicked the shell somewhat. And Hub agreed that in order for the bubbles, these are actually little round bubbles, in order for them to show up, they needed to be a contrast color. So that's how we came up with the color scheme for the scrolling edges. I feel that was a big success. Everything about this page except these 4 fish I think was pretty successful. But all in all, not bad. And I like how the Polychromos worked. Of course, they are a dream, and it was very, very fun to color this page. So now, let me move back over here. I will leave the light in place because I have some fun things to review. These are 3 different sets of pencils, starting with the A's. Amazon Basics. I always get this wrong. Artex and Arteza. Every set of them worked really well. I was thinking that the Amazon Basics, which I have heard don't blend very well, would be problematic. But if you look at these 3 fish, there's nothing not blended about the fish. So perhaps with the reviewers who say that the Amazon Basics just don't blend for them, it is a matter of color. And the main blending that I did was the blue. 5 different shades. So the Artex were also lovely. The only problem with the Artex that I have an issue with is the barrel colors are quite far off, and I have to refer just strictly to the swatch. I cannot look. And then when I pull the pencils, I have to be careful because the colors are deceiving. The Arteza, I have also seen reviews where they don't blend very well, and I just did not have that experience. The closest to the Polychromos, which is a silky, the best description for me is silky. Prismacolor is creamy, buttery creamy. The Artex actually felt the silkiest of the three. The Amazon Basics and the Arteza feel, I don't know if I would call them buttery creamy, but they do have a heavy laydown, sort of crayon-like, so you do have to watch your pressure with those if you are not a heavy pressure to light pressure colorist, and I am a light pressure colorist. I liked finishing the fish 3 different ways. So the first fish you can see looks quite cartoony with the little dots, and then I used a very bright white, the same Artistro white, to go around the flowers. The second fish is my favorite, and it used glaze in a cinnamon color, yellow in the centers, and then the front of the fish I did 2 colors of blue glaze. You can see them, the 3D effect. And then the purple flowers I colored using a no line. So I blocked the line out with you guys using the Museum Aquarelle pencil. It worked very well for that application. And then the third fish I did more standard. All I used was the glaze. And these little flowers did not lend themselves to easily do a no line. And then because there were already dots on the fins of this fish, as well as some scales on the chin, I used a silver jelly roll. So 2 overall very successful, except for my 4 fishies here, but I'm just going to ignore those and they're just fine. These pages I actually don't want to write on what I did to them and what the dates are in the episodes, so I have a sticky note here, and I will be placing in a piece of glassine between the 2 of them. I don't know how this will work, so I'm going to experiment. I know that people do logbooks. I actually do keep OneNote. I keep all of the details on these, and in fact, all of the colors used are also on the video, so that I have 2 places where I store that information. So I don't even really need to store the information on a sticky note, but I'm going to do it anyway. So prior to this, I was writing the episodes, the date, and the pencils used. I will do just a half-second review. I went through, this is the Artistro, not to be confused with Artistro. The clouds, I went through and did some smoothing of them. So I'm just going to give you a quick glance at them. When I blended them out and got rid of the horizontal streaks, they kind of go a little bit bubbly looking, sort of watercolor wash, I guess. So I liked the way they came out when I spent some time blending them out, and I blended them out with the Artistro white. Then our final page that I spent 3 episodes on was the houses, and this was a fun comparison. I was surprised because the top 2 houses are done with 2 different Brutfuner sets, the squares and the macarons, the 50 set, and the bottom is Castell Arts Gold and Pasteltints, neither of which I have done too much with. And I thought the feeling, I do believe the Brutfuner, for sure the squares are a tad brighter. I'm staring at it now, evaluating, and I do get more of a pop of color, a saturated, richer color. But I was very surprised at how both of these felt to me. When you get all of the layers down, because this is a smooth paper, so the the filling up of the tooth happens very quickly. The golds turn into a very light, like a kind of like ice skating feel with your hand, and they still add color. So I was able to continue to add color even after the paper tooth was completely filled. And the same feeling happened with these pastel tints. I never felt the glossy, I would say waxy. The Brutfuners don't do it, and the Macarons don't do it. They continue to feel silky. They don't go glossy, buttery on me. And what's weird is this I believe is a wax, this being the pastel tint, but the gold is supposedly oil. And I've heard that people feel that these feel more like a wax-based pencil, and the soft touches feel more like an oil-based pencil. And if the feeling is the buttery, creamy, slick feeling, not silky, that's how these felt. But all of the pencils I used this week were a dream to work with. I didn't really have any duds, and I expected, of all of them, I expected the one to be the most difficult to work with, was the Amazon Basics, and I feel that it was easily workable as well as any of the other sets. The easiest set to work with and the fastest was definitely the Polychromos, and I gave it the most complicated job, and I never felt rushed. Doing this background took some time, and it just went on so smooth, and no streaking. I probably could go back through and smooth it out even more if I wanted to, but it went on so easy. I'm like, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not even going to sit and nitpick it because it felt so good. All right, so that concludes this week's weekly color. Again, I am taking our anniversary week off. Our anniversary is May 5th, and I will hit the daily colors back up on Monday, May 6th. I have some haul videos to do, and I may do them next week while I'm not doing daily colors. We aren't going anywhere for our anniversary or anything. We have a couple of fun things planned, but nothing major. And then I can get caught up on some of the different haul videos, as well as a detailed walkthrough that I'm getting very close to finishing on the Castle Arts Golds. So let me know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts on these 3 pages, what do you think of them? And the sets that I used, what are your thoughts? And I will see you Monday, May 6th for a daily color. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you then.